Like goddamn, rest in motherfucking peace, motherfucking Xxxtentation. Like what the fuck? Like I knew I caught a spirit today for some reason. Something was making me talk about death today and new life and shit, and us dying and transforming into new levels of life. I don't know where I got that spirit from, but goddamn, I turn around soon as I just get done stopping talking, doing a video, I see motherfucking Xxxtentation just got shot and motherfucking killed. God motherfucking damn. Now, for the most part, this is what we need to understand. When there's a death, we need celebration. We need mourning like how y'all look at mourning when y'all get up in the morning. Not mourning how y'all look at mourning when y'all see somebody die. Because when we give good positive vibration, mental thought forms to over a person's spirit when they die, that gives them better ability to see good lights, go into good lights. Light carry information. So all that information be carrying, we all celebrating, we all happy, and we all and things of that nature. And that but see, here's what's going on here. As humans, we've been so lost, and we've been on this scale, like this domino effect. And what's happening is we're manifesting negative ways of transforming. Transforming is supposed to be positive, but since as humans we want to cling on to the physical and cling on to your dream and imagination and experience so long, what happens is it's like you end up creating a catastrophic moment to force you out. Like your spirit to do it for you. You know? And as humans, it's like we just get so lost into that to the point that we create negative transformative situations. And we need to stop that. Now, these negative transformative situations we're creating for ourselves is playing out as in horrible deaths. Deaths by fire, sword, blades, knives, weaponry. You know what I'm saying? So this spiritual energy that people are manifesting is coming in negative ways. Death doesn't have to be perceived in that way. But here's what's actually going on. Be motherfucking careful what energy you are in. Because, for an example, if you are a person that's gaining a lot of attention, you're gaining a lot of traction, that's a lot of energy. And with that shapeless and formless energy, you're able to manifest shapes and forms a lot faster than others because you have more resources to work with. You're getting attention. You're getting energy thrown at you. So you have a lot more resources to work with to create and manifest the shapes and forms that you want to experience in your life. But you know, the universe don't respond to the illusion. It responds to the internal world. So it's how you truly feel, not how you feel about the actual illusion. So you see a lot of people who even looking at 6ix9ine right now, Tekashi 6ix9ine and shit like that. Like, oh, it should have been him, this, that, and the third. What y'all not understanding is Tekashi getting a lot of attention, but his heart is in the right place. He's putting it in a place of he's smiling. He's enjoying this. So that's his emotional vibration frequencies he's putting out in the universe is life. Is dealing with wanting to experience, is dealing with, you know what I'm saying, the light, dealing with being seen, and he got energies in it with trolling and stuff like that. So regardless of the illusion he's creating, the shapes and forms he's getting out of it is where his heart is at, and he's getting success and being happy because that's where he's genuinely at. Now when you got people like Xxxtentacion, he's receiving a lot of attention, but where was his heart at? And I was listening to a lot of his interviews and things of that nature, and he sound like he's coming from a depressed place or things of that nature. Now, being depressed or going through catastrophic moments or in-depth experiences in your life always going to lead you to having wisdom and knowledge that others can't perceive. Because going in depth and experiencing in-depthness in any realm of reality, you get to absorb a lot of information there, aka experiences. So, you know, I was listening to a few of his, I heard a few of his interviews and listened to his music. He got a lot of energy signature of suicide. and death and things of that nature. So like I said, you can manifest anything. Now he's gaining a lot of attention, so that means he can create shapes and forms to be manifested in his life a lot faster, because he got a lot more resources to work with. But the illusion don't matter. Your heart and what you feel matters. So what's actually happening is Xxxtentation was receiving all this information, receiving all this attention, and everybody paying attention to him. So he's receiving all this energy, which is the illusion. But his heart and his space, his spirit was in very negative energies. So that's what was being manifested. And the more energy he was receiving, the faster his space was going to be able to manifest the things out of it. His spirit was going to be able to take all that and manifest shapes and forms at a way higher vibrational state than others. So since his spirit was in suicide and death, all the attention he's getting was his tool that enabled his spirit to manifest what his spirit wanted to experience a lot faster. So remind you, your spirit is the most important thing in this world. You choose to experience what you want to experience. I don't care how many indoctrinations, how much far you are lost in the light, how many people, places, and things that's in the light that's making you feel certain ways that you can't detach from. You choose to feel that way. And the universe only accepts what you like, what you keep doing. So if you keep being into negative spirits and negative spaces and things of that nature, you're going to get what you're asking for. So you see what I'm saying? And then the more attention you get, the faster the rate is going to come. So, rest in peace, Xxxtentation. I wish I was able to connect with him, or I wish I was a celebrity that I could start to mix and mingle with a lot of these people who become stars, but can't handle the energy signature of the space that they are in. Because the space that they are in is already controlled by a certain energy signature. And that energy signature was created by a spirit. Now, this spirit has took many different shapes and forms in that space, because that spirit is that spirit space. So that spirit then created all kind of shapes and forms out of that, and developed more information on its own spirit through those experiences to create either bigger shapes and forms. So you being a miniature spirit, just gasping and creating shapes and forms to sustain yourself and creating spaceships, when you go through that bigger space to withstand that space, you're going to have to die and transform almost as many times as the being that was already there. So that vortex is already there for you. So when we got stars get all this attention paid to them, so they're able to travel freely through the astral realm. But then they're traveling through certain spaces that the energy vortex there is kind of out of their hands. Too chaotic for them. And if that star can't handle being in that space, and if that star can't resign in that position and hold that position, because when a star go through a certain catastrophic space with all kind of other asteroids there and shit of that nature, lesser stars, other people look at that like it's a spectacle. It's either we're all waiting for this person to crash, or we're waiting for this person to accomplish. So it's all like a movie, and we're stars that's playing that role in the galaxy. But for the most part, what you need to understand is, if that star can't handle that space based upon all the energy that space been accumulating before that star even got there to play that role, then that fucking all the elements that's on that form, that shape, that body of that star is going to get fucking transformed in the most catastrophic way. And a lot of times they get scared because they know that's going to happen, so they take themselves out of that space. And when the other lesser stars, people who are not as popular, don't see this person carrying up those duties and obligations, aka not staying in that position in that space, then they go find another other star to uplift, to put in that position in space, another star that can handle it. But these spaces and locations, aka other spirits that created shapes and forms and made that vortex way harder, may be controlled by certain entities and spirits that want certain things to play out in certain ways, because they can't take those density shapes and forms anymore, and they're in the most lightest forms, so they can't experience it within depth. So they take a heavy into density star like you in this realm to experience that space. So they move you into their space by thoughts, ideas, concepts. And if you can't handle being into those thoughts and ideas and patterns in your life, then you're going to see how you as a star, as I was just explaining, how that shit going to play the fuck out. So for the most part, Once again, rest in peace, Xxxtentation, but we don't need to be down. We need to be sending positive and harmonious thoughts to that man and his family. So when he, as a spirit, he may be blind and try to go into certain lights and come back into a realm of reality and experience the same rotation that he has. And I'm here as a spiritual person to let him know that he don't need to be doing that. Because I don't give a fuck what you are experiencing in every realm of reality. You are on the same end of something. So whether you're on the opposite or this end of it, it's the same polar energy signature and it's going to flow. So whether you are the killer or the one that's being killed, your spirit ain't going to die. But what's going to happen is your spirit was resonating with that energy. So whatever shape and form or whatever realm of reality and density you go into and be birthed into, that's the energy. Those are the shapes and forms and the people, places, and things you're going to manifest in your life because your spirit like resonating with that energy. So if you are a killer or you are a person that got killed and you are a spirit in another realm of reality watching this in some other kind of way, then what you need to understand is you need to take yourself out of that jump rope game and put yourself in another realm of reality so you don't experience that karma rotation and stay in that pattern or dimension. You see what I'm saying? And you're able to expand or grow lesser, but you don't want to stay in that position. So for the most part, whatever life you go into, you're just going to be manifesting situations where you end up going to have to kill someone, or you're going to have to find ways on not to be killed. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to play in large vibrational ways and low vibrational ways. That mean catastrophic experiences or just experiences that may just be light but not too serious. But in some way, shape, or form, you're going to keep manifesting as a spirit people, places, and things, and shapes and forms, and lights and gases and sounds in front of you that correlate to the energy of death. And not just death, but the catastrophic way of the negative way of transforming. So you're going to manifest negative perceptions and negative ideas and negative transformations from that. And people in your life who give you these same concepts and ideas and put you in depression. So keep that in mind. You know what I'm saying? Don't matter. You're not running from nothing. I don't care if you got killed or somebody killed you. I mean, or you the killer. You're not running from that energy into whatever form and shape you are in as a spirit at the moment. You choose to cut off more and more of those experiences. Now, say you are a spirit that's been doing this for thousands and thousands of years. It's going to take you thousands and thousands of shapes and forms to go into as a spirit of cutting it off. So you may still be in that jump rope, bouncing back and forth from getting killed or killing, but the experience become lesser and lesser and lesser. In this life, you do it less times. In this life, you may go to jail to make you do it in lesser times. In this realm of reality, it may be constructed different. Then it becomes so less and less. You contracted all that. You didn't expand that energy. You contracted all those realms of realities to the point that thousands of years later, all the energy you put in, you replenished it because you put the same energy into closing off those experiences as a spirit. So don't just think this is your only life, because you will get lost into repeating yourself because you'll be doing it in the present. What you doing now is what you always been doing. So if you got some kind of mental concept now is, oh, I'm going to die anyway and life is already the way it is, so I'm just going to live the way I live anyway. That's what you always been doing, and you ain't gonna never fucking get out of that fucking pattern. So once you die and leave from this, you're gonna go into a lower realm of reality, or the same realm of reality if you don't extend things on your spirit to go to a higher dimension and create those bodies. So you're going to take another shape and form in this dimension. But you're going to constantly create shapes and forms and people, places, and things around you that remind you to make you feel lost again and feel like, man, I'm just going to keep living this way. I don't care. And it's going to go, so you keep putting energy into that to the point that you end up coming into a body in life where you're going to, every time you say that, it's going to be a scary moment. You're going to be like, man, I bet not think this is the only way to live anymore. But that's some other, you're going to get into a scary body in life or age at that time where you're going to start looking at shit like that. To the point that you're going to be like, man, this ain't the only life, man. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking. And that's your spirit carrying your subconscious records to your subconscious realm, letting you know in your present realm that, look, you tired of these experiences. You've been experiencing that over and over again, and you tired of it. And you might be lost in your layering, physical shape and form of your energy and the people, places, and things you are around that's making you think lost. But now it's time to stop being lost. So, we need to all understand our spiritual natures. We need to all understand what kind of state we are in, living every second of the day. Because when that transformation state comes, you know where you're going. And you're not lost in trying to understand and look for understanding of where you think you're going, or have somebody else's idea or concept of where you're going. You see what I'm saying? So you have to be very careful with that. That's why when we talk about spiritual systems and natures and things of that nature, you can tell the adults from the kids. You know what I'm saying? Like if you come around somebody, the moment, like, and you talk about something spiritual, if you come around somebody and then they have this type of energy around them where they feel like they need to tell you to give your power to something else, or give your responsibility, or give you this sense of something else is supposed to take care of what you got going on, then what you need to understand is you need to be very careful with listening to that person, because they're not following the right spirit, and they're following a spirit of lostness, and a spirit of needing some sense of example, because they're lost themselves and they don't have faith in themselves, or they don't have faith in general. So they need something outside of them to take care of them, take care of something for them, or to lead by example in order for that person weak spirit to feel comfortable and to gain any kind of strength. So you need to be very careful being around, and it doesn't, you could be around an atheist, but say if it's a person like you're going through a bunch of, let's say you're going through a bunch of street problems, or you're going through a bunch of health problems or things of that nature, then say you're trying to develop enough wisdom to develop it on your own nature, and say you're around people who can't even fathom how to think like that. They're too lazy to think for themselves, and then they look at you like you don't make sense because you think like that. And then the first advice that they give you is to go to someone else who may know what you're well capable of knowing yourself can know. You need to be aware of these people too, because not only are they spiritual kids, but they're kind of mental also. They're not mentally stable. You see what I'm saying? And that could go to a person that you come around every day who may be very smart in schooling, maybe very smart educational wise, right? But the moment that they tell you you don't know what you're talking about and you need to go learn from this specific person to understand what you're talking about, that's a sense of mental illness. That's a sense of retardedness. Now, if you live in a ghetto area and things of that nature, then the level of retardedness is overextensive. You see what I'm saying? The level of lostness will be overextensive. You will have somebody trying to look at you like you don't know what you're talking about, and they never have did anything in their life. You see what I'm saying? And that's another thing as a spirit. When you start to create things in your life, you start to show lower spirits, people who are incapable, you start to give them ideas. Now, these ideas will play out in your life as them trying to give you examples or give them ideas on what you should do. But this is what you need to understand. If that idea was so great and it worked, then it would be something that you are doing. Otherwise, I wouldn't have got to the position I'm in without doing what I'm doing. So this is why you have to be careful being around those kind of spirits also. Be careful with listening to people who ain't even doing or experiencing half of the shit you doing or experiencing. So when they come try to give you advice or try to come give you an outlook on how you should do something, that should be the first person that you ain't listening, that you should close off and not listen to. You see what I'm saying? So, it goes into a lot of different scenarios, and this is what every day in everybody's life. Everybody, yeah, this in your life. You have people around you right now who don't even know how to piss in the goddamn pot, but try to tell you how to make the goddamn pot. And since you made the pot, they wouldn't even have no idea on how to piss in a pot without you making the pot in the first place. So you would have to put them back in their place and let them know, look, check this out. You wouldn't know nothing about the pot to piss in if I didn't make the pot. So let me keep on making pots. And if your idea is so good, you go create something else to go piss in. And if it's a good enough idea, hopefully you'll be in the same position I'm in, where you will have people trying to give you ideas on what you already have fucking done. You see what I'm saying? So you have to clearly, this goes into transforming, learning your spiritual nature and learning spiritual strength. Spiritual strength is knowing that all things fall on you. You're responsible for everything in your life. Everything. Your motherfucking death. You're responsible for your death. So I don't give a fuck if you think somebody killed somebody or somebody killed you. Ain't nobody kill you. You killed your motherfucking self. You see what I'm saying? Get that in your mind. You killed your motherfucking self. Now, these mental forms that you went into that formulated bodies of death, those may have came faster than the physical version of death. But if you are experiencing physical death or killing someone in some way, shape, and form, you already experiencing that world. So you're probably already mentally dead. Mentally dead, once you eat all those knowledges, it goes down, then you're going to be emotionally dead. You're going to lose your soul. And then how being emotionally and soulless is not caring about nothing, not having no passion, not even having no emotional awareness or connection to even if you live or not. And then once you stay in that state for so long, that's the internal realm, and then it plays out physically. A person, place, or thing is going to play out as an example of the actual transformation physically. Your ass dying physically. So anyone that you are experiencing in this lifetime who got killed, I'm not just talking about death of natural death, and that's how you learn how to kill yourself. But if a person got killed, that means they got killed by an external reference. So they killed themselves using outside things, using external things that they was putting all their eggs in, hoping that it was going to replace what they had inside. And since these outside things didn't replace what they had inside, they end up killing themselves spiritually into thought, killing themselves soul, which is stop caring, and then they end up killing themselves physically. They start to act into those circumstances and situations that manifest in that vortex energy of death. So as a star, you put yourself in a greater element of stars that outweigh your elemental chemistry. So those mixtures outweighed your mixture. So that's like pouring like you got some sugar and water, but then you pour way more water in there so you can't taste the sugar anymore. That chemical mixture percentage outweighed your chemical mixture percentage in the physical form, because you manifested that situation from your spirit by being in those natures. So you know what I'm saying? I don't want to sound negative or anything of that nature, because I don't want to make people feel like I'm not showing it any care or compassion or things of that nature. But what I'm trying to do is give his spirit the most lightest bodies that he could jump into, because he was wise. You know what I'm saying? He was wise, just lost into certain realms of realities. So he was a wise person in the woods, basically, and that woods was already created before you walked through it. So you don't really know the agenda of the beings or the beings that created that woods. You just know your perspective of it. So don't cling on to the things that sustain you in that woods. Understand the woods for what it is, so you can travel through it. You know? But yeah, man, rest in motherfucking peace as far as this realm. But I'm going to tell you right now, Xxxtentation, you ain't missing nothing. You ain't missing nothing. Matter of fact, the kind of mind you had, you should be all right. You should because you gained a lot of attention for really nothing here. You know what I'm saying? Your songs was only like 30 seconds. Really wasn't musically inclined. When you did switch your style, it didn't come from a genuine place. It sounded like you came up was like, all right, I need an old school sounding kind of song. Okay, I need an R&B kind of. It wasn't like you're just making music. So, you know, the way you blew up, and you blew up off kind of like a negative energy. So you blew up fast. So that let me know that as a spirit, you know what you're doing. So whatever shape and form you go into, you know what you're doing. But so you blew up fast. So what I would just tell you is don't get lost again with all this fast attention that you're going to be receiving, because your spirit vibrating high. Don't get lost into all that shit. Don't try to get lost in playing roles. Don't get lost in that. Whatever realm you about to be birthed into, you should be all right. But just don't get lost into the same shit you got lost in here. And you died kind of fast here. What, you was like 20 years old? So you didn't even experience this realm that long. So you already creating light bodies. You already going without a lot faster than a lot of other people here. Y'all ever hear that concept, the good die young? It's really the light bodies die young. The lighter the forms, the more you don't care. It's just what energy signature is you putting behind not caring. See, he was lost into the negative attributes of that. So his transformation period came negative. Now, since he had so much attention, he made it come real fast. So it came at 20 years old. But the transformation he experienced was a catastrophic negative one. So it was the one that transformed his body, not a transform as in one that came in lighter versions and transformed his life, where that came fast too. And then the most density one came fast because the energy he was putting it in was a negative suicide one. So he killed himself, yeah. But in this physical realm, they still need to get the motherfuckers that killed them, though. You know what I'm saying? I don't want y'all to look at it. I'm talking about spiritually, you kill yourself. In the physical realm, you just created these people, places, and things and scenarios to experience that. So and you do still create it, but it still take other people's spirits and for them to be lost into their feelings and emotions, and for them to be lost also for them to even participate. That's why I said, when you don't know yourself or you don't know your solar system or the being that you are in, you are the most prime example of how these energies is being played out. The more you know yourself, the more you can stop the influence and be your own star, because you understand the influence and don't get overtaken by the influence by wasting your time trying to tell others that this ain't an influence, this don't mean this ain't that, this ain't that. You're playing out the energies of whatever spirit is using these shapes and forms because they want to stay hidden and they want to keep you under that concept. But the moment you stick to your guns and stick to yourself and be like, all right, these are just influences and I'm an influence also, then you will be able to get a hold of the space that you are in, and don't let no asteroids or other outside catastrophic other shit that's vortexing in that same space you in overwhelm you. You move that shit out your way. You don't let that shit move you out the way. So when you get killed negatively, you let that shit move you out the way, out of the astral realm. When you die positively, when you kill yourself positively, and that play out like dying old or dying of something natural causes or sicknesses or something like that. When you die in that way, that's you pushing the other shit out of your way to go to the next level. Man, flight boss bitch, goddamn air. Rest in peace, man. You gonna be all right though. You gonna be all right.